The women's coaches complained a lot, and because of this we started the checks. We didn't just start it like that, but at the request of the female athletes. When we did the test at the World Championships, the test showed that these were men. It's sad when we shout to the whole world that we are for gender equality and the protection of women, and then they simply destroy women's sports.
It is so good to see that people are finally willing to no longer bend the knee to this nonsense. Guys, this Olympic boxing controversy has really been irritating me since the beginning. As a father of many daughters, I can tell you that if that was my kid, whose entire lifetime of dreams came crashing down in 46 seconds because of somebody who was in there faking, we are definitely going to have a problem. But what people didn't expect, what the Olympic Committee did not expect more than anything, was for the IBA to continue to push and say, hey, we've been telling you guys and we've been letting you know what's going on with these two, and you decided to let them get in there and punch on women anyway. So let's go ahead and check out how these woke reporters decided to just go ahead and scatter the moment they heard the truth, the same way that roaches run when the light turns on. Let's check it out.
The women's coaches complained a lot, and because of this we started the checks. We didn't just start it like that, but at the request of the female athletes. When we did the test at the World Championships, the test showed that these were men. It's sad when we shout to the whole world that we are for gender equality and the protection of women, and then they simply destroy women's sports.
The way they all walk out. Now, it's important to note, ladies and gentlemen, that this individual right here, the one that you're seeing here on the left, is actually a board-certified OBGYN, a gynecologist, somebody who actually, for a living, who is a physician, looks down and can confirm whether or not someone is a male or a female. That's important to note when we're watching this video, all right? The man is a geneticist, a surgeon, and specializes in vitro fertilization. And you're telling me that he doesn't know what he's talking about?
I know that the president back, I respect him. He's the president from the National Olympic Committee. I respect everything. I know that he said the science is poor. For me, science is not poor.
And what he's talking about is the individual who heads up the Olympic Committee, who has been doing nothing but trying to make discrediting statements about the IBA and their physicians and their testing process. And ever since the beginning, that's all they've been trying to do. And the arguments that the IOC is using in order to try to make the entire world be convinced that these individuals are female is extremely shoddy at best. And you guys are going to see that coming up here in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and let it play some more, but you guys are going to see, and we're going to pick apart this guy's arguments, because Mr. Bach from the IOC is about as lacking in intestinal fortitude as it gets. And you guys are going to see that here shortly.
How can somebody being born, raised, competed, and having a passport as a woman cannot be considered a woman?
Having a passport as a woman does not make you a woman. There are people who have gender-affirming surgeries who get driver's licenses that make them look like a woman if they were born as a man or vice versa. That does not mean that their chromosomes have changed and that their DNA has changed. You are still a man, you are still a woman, you are still whatever it was that you were born as, right? So a document stating that you are that thing does not make you that thing. I can go onto my computer right now, go on Photoshop, make a very convincing document with my picture on it that could call me Pope Francis III, and that doesn't make me that thing that a document says that I am. This is the president, Thomas Bach, of the IOC. This is the president of the Olympic Committee. It is absolutely pathetic that this is their top argument. And the fact that so many liberals are sitting there acting like, well, oh yeah, well, that must be a woman because her passport says that she's a woman. Come on, man.
If they are coming up with something, we are ready to listen. We are ready to look into it.
That's a lie, and I'm going to show you guys that in a few.
But we will not take part in a politically motivated, sometimes politically motivated cultural war. And allow me to say that what is going on in this context in the social media with all this hate speech, with this aggression and abuse, and fueled by this agenda, is totally unacceptable.
So what he's trying to say there when he says hate speech is people who tell the truth. When he says hate speech, it's just like every other leftist in the world who says, you're not agreeing with me, so I'm going to use buzzwords now in order to try to make you back off. And what makes them even more mad lately is that people are not backing off. As a matter of fact, it has the opposite effect. The woke agenda has created so much more conservative influence in the world, on the internet especially, that even people like Elon Musk have moved further to the right because they're so sick of the virtue signaling. And he says that it's a culture war. You're damn straight it's a culture war, because you have allowed, through the perpetuation of your own cowardice, because you are scared to be a man and say, hey man, if you want to get in there and box with women, we need to make sure you're a woman. He doesn't even have the guts, as what he calls a man, to do that. So now other people have to step up and do his job for him, because he's going to lie to you and say, well, nobody came to us and said that this was a man. That's actually a lie. And there is documentation stating that the IBA, after they conducted not one but two tests, and both of those tests, that both of those fighters who were supposedly female didn't even bother to try to appeal. Why would you not appeal that decision if you know that it's wrong, if you know that it's unjust? If it's unjust, then why did you not hire attorneys and say, hey, they're lying about me and I want to go to an impartial source to test me and say, hey, no, I am not a man, I'm a woman? Neither one of those fighters did that. And now, so you have to ask yourself why. And ask yourself why Thomas Bach of the IOC is stating to you guys that they did not have any forewarning about these individuals, when the IBA has proven that they did forward their results to the IOC because they knew that these individuals had the intention of competing in the Olympics.
There was a number of concerns from boxers, coaches,
That's crazy.
indeed the medical team, medical staff, the ringside doctors, regarding these two boxers in particular. Blood tests were taken, gender test was taken as it was during the Women's World Championships in 2022 in Istanbul. At that point, I'm just going to highlight here, so on the 17th of May 2022, the results were taken, the blood tests were taken by a lab known as System Tip Laboratory in Istanbul. We can give the license numbers out so you'll be aware of that, and the results from there were issued on the 24th of May. Okay. The tests were taken, and the results, I'm going to discuss this shortly, the results that were brought out were inconsistent. So, further to which, there's been a number of questions as to why, but we came about to the next female championships was taking part in 2023. So there is a time gap, but the reason for that is because we wanted two tests. So there's two tests required, not one, but two tests, time gap between, and then to the next World Championships, which was taking place in India. Okay, so we go to the female World Championships that took place between the 15th and 26th of March. Both boxers entered the championships, and at which point, on the 17th of March 2023, both boxers were asked to take a further blood test. That happened, and on the 23rd of March the results came through, and it demonstrated the chromosomes that we refer to within the technical and competition rules that made both boxers ineligible, and that was then further ratified by the BOD, our board of directors. It was taken there to remove both boxers from the championships. That was on the 26th of March 2023. We had a letter that Mr. Yarolimpos had put forward to the board, and with this it explained fully what the situation was. We've got a document that Mr. Yarolimpos sent to both boxers, and within that document, and we'll let you see these documents, there is an attached referral to the blood tests that were taken. Okay. We're not in a position, due to non-disclosure and medical in confidence, we're not able to give you the actual blood test itself, but what we can show you is the front cover copy with the annex, which we'll put up on show shortly to indicate what that was, and a signature on the bottom of both documents by both boxers who received those blood tests accordingly.
Now, mind you, the president of the IOC speaking committee, whatever it is his title is, stated that he wasn't warned, right? They didn't get anything stating that these two were possibly males or anything like that. According to him, they had no forewarning. Really? Because according to the IBA's official website, they clarified the facts that the letter to the IOC regarding two ineligible boxers was sent and acknowledged, and that came out August 5th, 2024, which you would have to understand then that the letter was sent to them even way before that. And there are several bullet points in this article, which I am going to post in the description below, has several bullet points about exactly what happened when the testing took place. And even down here where it states that the IBA informed the IOC representatives about these tests, but no reaction followed from the IOC side. The situation was completely new to boxing, and IBA, following numerous consultations, decided to conduct a second testing before disqualifying the boxers. However, the second testing could only be conducted in a neutral country and within the IBA competition period. At the next IBA Women's World Boxing Championships in 2023, mind you, these two know that they're on the radar already and still decided to test it. In 2023 in New Delhi, now we have moved on to India, which is now a neutral ground. Khalif and Lin were tested following their contest again before their first fights. Blood sample collection was made on 17 March 2023. Dr. Lal Path Labs from New Delhi issued its report on 23 March 2023. The findings were absolutely identical to the first test results. Here's the thing. I'm sick to death of people sitting there trying to make it seem like just because these two are not traditional transgender people that it makes it okay. If you have XY chromosomes, you are a man, period. I don't care if there was a mutation where it made your genitals look like you were something else. You knew for a fact, and this person knew for a fact, especially Khalif, right? This is the one that we're harping on. Khalif knew from the beginning that he had an advantage. He decided that because he was raised female and they put dresses on him his whole life, he wanted to sit there and act like, well, I'm a female, so I'm going to compete with females. Even though this obviously has come up a multitude of times throughout his life, they still decided to act, even though people were complaining about it, like, hey, no, this is okay. At the end of the day, you know right and you know wrong. You know that you shouldn't be doing something. You know that you have an advantage. You know that you have denser musculature. You know that you have a stronger skeleton. You know that you have broader shoulders. You know for a fact that you have the advantage, right? There's no way. And let me ask you this. If you really thought that you were a woman, then why, after you were disqualified from the IBA championships, did neither one of you decide to appeal it? Ask that question. Why is it that you didn't appeal it and say, hey, this is an injustice and I really want to fight it? If something is truly an injustice, you will exert every iota of energy you have to making sure that you fight it. But you didn't do that. So ask yourselves, if they're really women as they say they are, then why didn't they fight? I'm going to also post a link to this right here in the description below from Mediaite. It's a car crash. BBC and other outlets walk out of Boxing Association's chaotic presser about Algerian boxers' gender from Ahmad Austin Jr. This was posted yesterday at it looks like 2:41 p.m. Reporters were left stunned by the way the International Boxing Association handled a press conference about two Olympic boxers at the center of controversy. The IBA on Tuesday held a presser to detail its decision to disqualify Algeria's Imaine Khalif and Taiwan's Lin Yuting from previous competitions. Both are competing in the Olympics, and their respective wins in the quarterfinals mean they are both guaranteed to win medals in Paris. According to the IBA, the disqualifications came from test results that the organization believes they are both men. Both competitors, however, have insisted they are born female and have identified as women their entire lives, as if that makes a difference. Their passports also indicate that they're female. Again, why do they continue to repeat that? Their passport, you can get an ID, according to today's world, you can get an ID in a lot of places and just tell them that you are a female if you're a male. You can tell them you're a male if you're a female, and that's what they're going to put on there. That's it. They're not going to ask any questions. Stop saying that the passport says they're a female, so they're a female. That's by far the most childish and juvenile argument you could possibly use. The IBA is using science with board-certified gynecologists and surgeons, okay? And they're using, well, it says on their passport they're a female, so they're a female. Do you understand how stupid that is? This will just go to show you guys how incredibly disingenuous the media is nowadays. They do not want to hear the truth. As a reporter, it is your job to be impartial, right? Unbiased. Nowadays, I haven't seen that in years, especially from the left. MSNBC, CBS, The Guardian, they're all scumbags when it comes down to actually getting the truth. If it doesn't align with woke ideology, they don't want to hear it. And biblically, I'll tell you exactly why. From the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4, verses 3 and 4. Check this out. For the time is coming when people will not endure sound teaching, But having itchy ears, they will accumulate for themselves teachers to suit their own passions and will turn away from listening to the truth and wander off into myths. No, guys, it is not a coincidence that people act like this. There are people who want you to believe lies nonstop. Because if they can get you to constantly believe whatever it is that they tell you, you're getting further away from God's design. You're getting further away from God's plan. Meanwhile, diving deeper and deeper into everything it is that Lucifer wants you to do. Don't listen to it. Continue to fight for truth. Continue to understand that woke ideology is garbage. And so long as we keep on fighting against their nonsense, there's no way that they're going to win. The minute that we bend the knee, the minute that we just start acting like it's best to be pragmatic and they can do and say whatever they want and teach our kids whatever they want, that is when we have lost the war. Hey guys, I pray to God that you liked the video, and if you did, please type amen in the comment section if you agree, and if you don't, go ahead and leave those comments also. Just keep it respectful. As always, please don't forget to like the video, hit the sub button, share the video, and smash that bell for event notifications, guys, so you never miss a new video. If you love what you see and you want to become a channel sponsor, you can hit that join button where the sponsorship trailer will explain the different tier options and the perks that you'll get as a result of joining each individual plan. Also, don't forget to check out our merch store, as I recently added a ton of new merchandise to the store, and I would love to see nothing more than to see some of you guys wearing the Cross Unit logo out there in the wild. Lastly, the link to my Buy Me a Coffee is there as well. Of course, you're not required to do any of that. Just having you here with me is more than enough, and I am extremely grateful to God for your fellowship. As always, guys, be safe, be good, and be blessed. Remember that Jesus is King and the literal only way to heaven. So for those of you who haven't started a relationship with him yet, please consider it, because when he comes back for his people, it's gonna happen just like this.
Down.